Hey gang, Gavin Richard again. It's another time for a testimonial from my book, Katrina, Eyes Have Not Seen, Ears Have Not Heard. I'd just like to give a shout out right quick before we begin to Naomi Petrie. She was the lady that designed my video that I did, a press video about the book. And if you go to her YouTube account, Imoni Impress LLC, the video is posted on there. Or you could just look up the book Katrina, Eyes Have Not Seen, Ears Have Not Heard. And when you click on one of my videos and you read it, you'll find it in my favorites if you're looking at the channel. So check it out. I'm going to do chapter 3 again. These are the testimonies. I interviewed several people. I wasn't able to include all of them in the book for timing, for continuation purposes, but to Terry Adams, to Mama D, Mama D's in here, a couple of others, Mr. Irvin Jones. Thank y'all, Minister Willie Muhammad from the Nation of Islam in New Orleans, who I did an interview with. I want to thank him. I want to read from, I'm going to read and hear Malik Rahim's testimony. Malik Rahim is the founder of Common Ground in New Orleans. He's been doing a lot of work with rebuilding, and he was down there in New Orleans the whole time. And he gives you his account of what happened, and we're going to start right now on page 44. That's August 28th. Malik Rahim answered to me, yeah, the 28th. Yeah, that's Sunday night. It happened on a Sunday. The hurricane, yeah. I think it was a Monday. That Monday, the 28th, was that Sunday. Well, yeah. That's why I'll tell you it was a spiritual thing with Emmett Till. We started hearing the wind and trees blowing. It was like the trees were bound to God. They literally were bending down again and straightening up. The ones that refused to bend, we saw them pop. I live in an old but sturdy house. You could feel it vibrating with the wind. The wind was coming in a circular pattern. You could almost time it, and it will come back with full force. After the lights went out, we lit one candle. There were 3 of us, Terrence Baudet, Karen Johnson, and myself. We start making plans. I had already moved all my tools because I'm a driver and a contractor. That Sunday I moved all my tools in my attic. I had a mall hammer. I had a couple of battery-powered circular saws, and I put them in there if we were trapped in my house. I could cut my way out of my attic if the water had gotten that high. We could go on the roof. We had life preservers. I figured if my roof collapsed, we would go onto my front porch and back porch because they're made of cement slabs. I knew that wasn't going to move. I disconnected my floor furnace so that if I need be, I could knock my way through the furnace and go under the house. I turned my kitchen into a bunker. We put 2x6s from my deep freezer to my stove and from my sink to a table that we had reinforced. If we had seen that the roof was going to fall, we would crawl under there and from there crawl down through the furnace and get under the house. Now we had done that, but we could prepare if we had to go on the roof or under the house. We were truly blessed. When did you hear the reports that the levees gave way? This is what I asked Malik, and he answered, that night, maybe around 1:30 or 2 in the morning. I didn't know what time it was because, again, we had lost power that night. We start hearing all these horns blowing. So Sharon, she asked me, what is that? Is that a train? I said, no. I know there wasn't anybody with a train out there in this kind of weather. I know this wasn't the wind. I didn't know what it was. I knew it wasn't anybody out there in the river. We kept hearing these horns. Those horns lasted until almost 6 or 7 in the morning. Then the wind was still pouring hard. I guess it was already early morning when the eye was passing, and that calm came through. When it was calm, we checked the levee to see how high the river was. When I went out there to check the water, Sharon had taken her ID and taped it around her so that if she died, people could identify her body. I had never heard of anything like that. The next morning, we ran out to see what was going on. I opened my front door, and to my biggest amazement, there was a ship that looked like it was sitting on top of the levee right by my house. We walked over there to see what was going on because I'm only 2 blocks from the levee. I monitored the river. The river wasn't that high, so I felt safe. When we went to that ship, the ship had run aground. There were 2 tugboats that wedged themselves between the river and that levee. To me, the 2 most heroic people I believed of Katrina were those 2 tugboat captains who tried and stopped that ship from running into the levee. If that ship had hit and broken the levee, all of this area would have been flooded by the Mississippi River. We would not have been able to pump the water. We were sitting up there counting our blessings. So let me just skip forward and read to you this part as he went over. Then I went and did an assessment on my house. I saw that I needed a new roof and siding. I went in bed and I went in, and praised God for the blessings and went to bed. On Tuesday morning, I got up and started cutting my grass and cleaning my yard. My brother had called me, and that's when I found out about the flooding. He told me, "Brother, leave. It's flooding. You are still in New Orleans. You got to get out. New Orleans is flooding." I said, "No, New Orleans isn't flooding. I'm cutting my grass." And he said, "Brother, it's all over CNN." I said, "Man, I don't have CNN." We couldn't catch any station that Tuesday morning. He was steadily telling me about the flooding. I had an old work van parked in the yard. I used that to listen to the radio, and that's when we heard about the flooding on the east bank across the river. That evening, my son and his wife came over and told us about the horrors they went through. They actually got caught in the flood. Again, this is Malik Rahim. This is chapter 3 of his testimony, his version. There are other testimonies that I would love to share. May 15th at Lafayette, at the Barnes & Nobles. I will be doing a book signing. If you can come on out, please, at 2 o'clock. But this is what it was about. And these people didn't have to interview, or didn't have to tell this side of the story, but they wanted the truth to come out there. I'm glad that they did, and they shared that with me. There will be more stories to come. Some interesting things I've discovered, and I'd like to talk about later with you all at another time. But this has been another day, another reading with Gavin Richard. Katrina, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. Thank you all once again for watching, and have a good day.